Welcome back to the Spurs Chat Podcast, where I'm live from Haifa in Israel. I've just gone to the game where Roma, of course, have just beaten Tottenham Hotspur 1-0, and Jose Mourinho lifts another trophy, the iTech Cup. I've got Craig and I've got Josh with me to discuss today's game, and then, of course, preview next weekend's game against Southampton as a new Premier League season starts. Craig, let's start with you. How are you?
I'm all good, Chris. Yeah, very warm here, but I'm sure it's not as warm as it is out there. But very hot and humid. I don't envy you trying to get back from that stadium. Sounds like you had a bit of a nightmare. But can't have everything, and I'm sure we'll get into the performance of Tottenham tonight.
I've literally just got through the door, so a little bit stressed from getting in on time to start this podcast. We've also got Josh back with us. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm all right, Chris. A bit hot as well, as Craig said, but I'm sure it's not as warm as Israel. But yeah, a bit disappointed, a bit of a lacklustre mood tonight. But it's pre-season, doesn't matter. Looking forward to next week. Obviously, Southampton at home. All positive. Just got to move on, haven't we?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
We've also got Noel with us from Northern Ireland. Noel, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Craig, let's start with you. Simple question. What did you think of today's game?
I think Josh hit on nail on the head there. It was a bit lacklustre, wasn't it? I think they all looked a little bit tired. I mean, I would imagine that would be because of the sheer volume of training that Conte's put them through over the last week, 2 weeks, and it was very hot out there tonight as well, and they didn't seem as at it tonight. Don't think Kane had one of his best games tonight. Again, as Josh said, it's pre-season. You just got to treat it as a training exercise. But it was a bit disappointing to finish without a win or a decent performance, at least, to talk about. I mean, it was obvious Conte wanted this game to play against the team who played a low block and see how we could break them down, and we didn't have a shot on target. So, kind of, in a weird sort of way, there's gives us a load of more questions, but at least he knows what we're not so good at. Still, we still need that lock picker sort of thing, in my opinion. But I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, disappointing way to end pre-season, without a doubt.
What did you make of it, Josh?
Well, yeah, I agree with Craig. I thought it's really disappointing. It was a bit boring. I felt for you. I said to my dad watching it, I thought, oh God, imagine going all the way to Israel to watch that. We struggled really to break down a typical Jose side, parking the bus, very aggressive. Felt I think they were very angry, a lot of those Roma players. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but it is pre-season at the end of the day. It's not the be all and end all. What we've got to be worrying about is the result on Saturday. That's the one that actually matters. Pre-season doesn't matter at all. And I actually think it's quite a good thing, because it's not a reality check, but it's a bit of like, as Craig said, it's a bit of like, I don't know how to say it. It is a bit of a reality check, basically. We're not perfect. We're not a 10 out of 10 side. We've still got some issues in there, as we saw it at half time. Obviously, Sanchez coming off, Lenglet coming on, proper left centre back coming on, because Sanchez was playing that position, and I think that improved us a lot at the back. We're not a perfect side. We're dying for an attacking midfielder, which we're obviously looking for in the transfer market at the moment, until the end of the transfer window. So I think there's some things to be improved upon, and I think it's actually a good thing that we didn't get a result today, because otherwise we'd be going into this Southampton game with a bit of an overinflated ego, a bit like the other team in North London who won 6-0. I think it's a good thing that we've actually not got a result, because Conte will go, right, got to push these players. We've got to keep improving. We've got to keep moving forward, instead of like kind of not improving. We've got to have that right mindset this season.
Now, let's come to you. What did you make of tonight's game? Disappointed?
Chris, I thought it was very disjointed, and no real cohesion in the team. There wasn't much pace in it. I know that it was very hot out there, so there was obviously circumstances as well. And as the guy said, it is a pre-season game, and let's not get carried away. We've had a great summer, we've had great signings, but if you really look at who is he going to put into the team? I think it's going to be close to the team that actually ended last season. I thought Lenglet really, looked a player. Very great vision, lovely left foot. Other than that, Carlson, showed a few bits and pieces. But again, too many substitutions, in my opinion, spoiled the game. So it became very disjointed. Could have got a result. Maybe could have got a penalty. But a good exercise, I'd say, more than anything. A good workout. It wouldn't be too disappointed about the result. But a lot of questions still there.
Now, what do you think Antonio Conte's learnt about this Tottenham Hotspur squad during pre-season? Because, of course, it was our final pre-season game this evening against Roma before we go into the Premier League season. Do you think that he knows what his starting 11 is going to be next week?
I think he probably knows what's close to it. I was actually writing down what I think would be the team next week, And I thought Romero was brilliant tonight.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic, showed real passion and real desire. There wasn't enough desire on the pitch for my behalf. I'd be a bit worried about the midfield sector in the game. I mean, Bazuma, obviously, there is circumstances there. He has been sick. And, obviously, he's only got a couple of bit part games. I don't think he's going to start the season. So, again, I think possibly Lenglet will be the only addition from last season. At this stage, I think Davies is injured. Richarlison is obviously suspended, so he's not going to take any part in that. So I think it'll be fairly much the same. Maybe a decision to make at right wing back. I think Doherty might just hold on to there. He seems to trust Doherty. And other than that, I'd say he fairly knows where the team is going to start with next week. But with the 6 players that have come in, there's a few obviously are going to be backup players at this stage, and a few will be pushing for it. And I still think that we need at least 2 more players, especially if all the departures that are being mooted are going to take place. You're going to lose 2 centre backs. You're going to lose Harry Winks. Reguilon, who I thought was going to be a fantastic player for Spurs. Very disappointed that that's not turning out the way we thought. But I think Conte being the manager he is, he will be going in next week, knowing the team that he's going to start with.
Craig, let's come to you. Does today's result actually matter?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, why do you play these games otherwise? If you won 10-0, lost 10-0, you're still learning something from them. So they do matter. Let's put aside for a moment, all the jokes we've been having about, it's a trophy to win at the end of the game. He's obviously not about that. And, I hope people know that when you speak of that and when we speak of that on this channel, it's a bit tongue in cheek. But, these games do matter. It's all about learning about how the team's going to perform, what the best formations are, who he's going to pick for the game against Southampton, what formation he wants to play, best players for best positions, because I think there's a few questions there. I think there's a few definite starters next weekend, but I still think there's 3 or 4 positions that are probably up for grabs, and he'll work that out in the week, if I'm honest. As Noel said, I think Romero was outstanding again tonight. I thought he was brilliant. He's definitely going to be one of the starters. Of course he is. So, the game does matter, and it seemed like the players were just running on empty tonight, and it was the same for both teams. But we just didn't have. I don't know, there was something missing tonight. It was very. I think, like Josh said, it was very boring. It was very boring. It wasn't the greatest match to watch, was it? And you're never going to get that against a Mourinho team. You know what you're going to get. We of all teams should know what you're going to get against Mourinho, and Conte knows about him as well. So, yeah, just a bit disappointing way to end pre-season.
I'll tell you what was missing: a shot on target. Josh,
yeah,
you say about a creative midfielder. What I want to know is, if Spurs bought a creative midfielder today, where does he fit into Antonio Conte's system, and why did we have no shots on target today?
Yeah, it was disappointing, wasn't it? Obviously, no shots on target, and that was a bit like the Nuno days when we didn't have a shot on target for so many minutes. I can't remember the exact stats, but it was like 200, 300 minutes of football with no shots on target. But where does a creative midfielder fit in? Conte is going to have to obviously change the formation because he loves the two in midfield and then the three up front. So I have to play maybe three in midfield. Maybe play Son and Kane up front. Maybe Kulusevski will have to drop. Maybe Kulu himself could play as a kind of centre attacking midfielder role. I was actually reading some things on the internet saying that he felt himself in an interview. He said that he would quite like to play as an attacking midfielder. So maybe we've got talent in the squad and we can just kind of move these formations around and kind of have the players might already be there, but we are definitely in need of an attacking midfielder. But enough about the negativity. I'd like to just quickly say about the positivity. I thought Clement Lenglet was absolutely class today. I thought it was absolutely outstanding when he came on, and so many times he was running down the left with like an almost overlapping centre-back, kind of putting in crosses into the box, which is so different. We haven't had a player like that doing something out of the ordinary kind of for a centre-back, putting in great crosses, which weren't put in the back of the net. But yeah, I'm really happy with that, and hopefully we can get a midfielder in who can actually get some more chances to Son and Kane and Kulu if that's how it works, and we can get more goals. But I haven't got any worries coming into this season about a lack of chance creation. I think we'll be all right in the Premier League. I think today was just a bit of an off day, as Craig said. Look, it was boiling hot. Was it quite hot in the stadium, Chris? They looked like they were sweating a lot, the players.
Yeah.
And it's a Mourinho team, classic 1-0. It was always how it's going to go. But it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to Saturday, and I'm sure we'll have loads of chances, loads of shots on target against Southampton. So we've got nothing to worry about.
Just to put it in context of how hot it is here, I've actually had 2 showers today and changed my t-shirt 3 times. It is that hot. No, let's come to you. Are you concerned at all about the lack of creativity today?
Absolutely. I thought at the start it was going to be Basuma and Bentancur, to start the season. He seems to trust Højbjerg. Højbjerg is a player, that all managers seem to like. He's a hell of a good player. He's a good hard worker. But, does he create anything? He played the 90 minutes, I think, didn't he? And, Bentancur and Basuma, shared a half. I would be very concerned about that aspect of the game. As you said, I don't know, if that midfield is there, I don't know where the creativity would be. Maybe, as Josh said, Kulusevski could, take over that role. He has a lovely left foot. I thought he played well today too. I thought he tried hard. But other than that, I wasn't really convinced. I was a bit underwhelmed, to be quite honest with you. Watched the whole match and I thought, wow, very, very dull. But, as Craig said, this is pre-season. We want to win every game, but there would be concerns, that squad is something, a week ago I would have said differently, but I think there's something, just a little bit of tweaking that still needs to be done. But again, as I said earlier, substitutions like, Son coming off early and, there was like 6 substitutions in the second half. It doesn't do any good to any match, so it's totally disrupted. And I would be a wee bit concerned. Not totally.
Now, what have you made overall of Tottenham's 4 pre-season games? Of course, we had 2 in South Korea, 1 at Rangers last week, and then tonight. What have you made of the 4 games overall?
I thought they were actually. I thought they were great exercises, and I don't know much about them. It was Sevilla that they drew. Yeah. That was supposed to be a cracking game, was it?
Yeah.
I didn't actually see that one. And I thought against Rangers, they had a good second half, and I think the first game was 6-3. Yeah. So that really, wasn't really, a true reflection. I thought it was the pre-season was good, well organised, well planned. Everybody got involved. Everybody got a chance to see what they can do. A good pre-season, I would have thought.
Craig, you happy overall with the 4 games?
Yeah, to be honest, it's all about fitness and trying different things. As I say, it was disappointing, and you can't just ignore this result because we lost. But that's what pre-season's for, is to try new things, get the players fit, get them ready for the Premier League, and that's all you can take out of it. If we'd won all these 4 games, everybody would be getting excited about saying, we're going to win the Premier League, blah blah blah, But you wouldn't have seen the Charity Shield, or whatever it's called today, Chris, and Haaland was abysmal today. He was really dreadful. But people ain't going to be writing City off. I mean, they didn't play particularly well. I mean, it wasn't a fantastic game. Must admit, I didn't watch it, from first minute to last. But Liverpool won, but City weren't all that. And like this star signing just didn't turn up on the day. So, Man City fans are probably saying the exact same thing some Spurs fans are saying. But, let's not get carried away. The thing about pre-season is what Jason McGovern always says on Last Word on Spurs: don't get too high and don't get too low about anything. Just take it for what it is, I think. And then, the real test, if you like, starts on Saturday against Southampton. And, I'm pretty confident we're going to get a result there. So, onwards and upwards, hard week of training. They'll know, and Conte will know exactly what he's going to do. We're going to get back to temperatures that we're used to. So, nothing to be too depressed or too elated about. That's what I would say.
Josh, let's come to you. Do you think that Antonio Conte and this Spurs team have been tested enough during pre-season? Are you happy with the 4 games that we've played?
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of tests. Obviously, the Sevilla game was really physical, proper kind of Champions League level match. That was a good match. I thought today was quite a good challenge as well. And obviously we didn't get the win. It wasn't terrible. I've been seeing a lot of comments in the live comment section about the Twitter negativity. But we only lost 1-0 to a header. It could have been, it very easily could have been a 0-0 if we don't concede a set piece. And that's kind of what it felt like. It felt like kind of like I said, a lackluster game, very hot, and all of that. But I think we've been challenged in this pre-season game. If you think about it, we've done a lot of travelling, and we're going to need to kind of get used to that. We've been to Korea, we've been to Israel. We've done a lot. That's a lot of flying for the boys, a lot of travelling. And with the Champions League, obviously, we're going to be doing a lot of travelling, and we're going to have a hell of a lot of games. So I think that's a really good kind of. It's not a challenge, but it's good to get used to that again. Compared to like last year when Conte came in and we were kind of knocked out of all the cups, and we were only playing 1 game a week under Conte, and that may have played a part in why we did so well at the end of the season. But yeah, I think it's really good that we got abroad, we've done some travelling, played in different conditions. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I think we are more prepared now than we were at the end of the season. They've obviously got a lot of intense training under their belts, these players, and that's probably kind of tiring them out as well when Conte made them do 40 laps of the pitch. But that may not pay off now against Jose's Roma. We may lose this 1-0. But in 13, 14, 15 Premier League games, when players from other clubs are starting to get tired, we're going to have those fitness levels to keep going, to kind of have that second wind and keep pushing forward, because we've actually put in the hard work now when it actually matters. And we've sacrificed maybe some performances in pre-season that weren't insane. But this season, if we can build up those fitness levels now, I think we can actually go far this season. I think we've got great potential. I think it's all positivity from now on. Let's get a result against Southampton. That's the most important thing. Let's not lose 1-0 to Southampton. Let's get 3 points at home, and I'm sure we can do that.
I'm itching to ask this question. I know I normally go through the game minute by minute, and I know this happened right at the end of the game, but I want to get it out there now. Harry Kane on free kicks still. I feel like this conversation is being had on this channel week by week, game by game. We're talking about why is Harry Kane still on free kicks. Josh, I want to kick this off with you. Why is Harry Kane still on free kicks? Because the guys that I was sitting next to, they're like, surely Eric Dyer is going to have to step up. You know, Son wasn't on the pitch at the time. Why is Harry Kane still on this on these free kicks? Because we've got this set piece specialist in. I don't think it takes a brain surgeon to work out that, you know, Harry Kane isn't that great at free kicks.
When's he starting work?
Week by week. It's just, I don't understand it. Josh, do you understand it?
The only thing I can think of is that obviously he's so good at penalties. He's great with a dead ball in the penalty box. But as soon as the ball is outside the box, he just can't do it, can he? It's just, I said to my dad, how much do you bet? I bet you 200 quid that he's going to hit the wall when he hit the wall. And it just happens over and over and over again. And the definition of stupid is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting like a different result. And it's like, the same thing keeps happening. Like it's very painful. But look, I think we've got some players in now, and they've got to be given the opportunity. We've also got Bissouma, who Tottenham actually posted a video on their Twitter of taking free kicks, and then they make Kane take another poor free kick. We've got Perisic, who's probably quite a decent free kick taker, and that's another player today who I thought was impressive. So I think. Look, Kane. We all know Kane is not a great free kick taker, and I think the coaching staff do need to get him off these free kicks. Give some other players some opportunities, because it's getting a bit ridiculous now. Obviously, he's a class player, absolutely world class, but he's not world class at free kicks.
But on a serious note, though, Josh, I can't believe that Antonio Conte has not said, this isn't working. Another player needs to take them. No, let's come to you on the same point. How is Harry Kane still on these free kicks?
He's a mere man, Chris. That's why he's confident. He thinks he can do it, but he obviously can't. And I agree with you. Conte should have sorted it out by now. But it was noticeable when that free kick was given that Son wasn't on the pitch. Was Son not being mooted as going to be the free kick taker for this season? Dyer was there as well. He's hit a few good ones in this time, but Harry Kane obviously is the main man. He pushes everybody out of the way. He wants to do it, and it's up to Conte to sort it out.
Craig, I know we've spoken about this at length many, many times. Do you want to have another go of why you think Harry Kane is still on these free kicks?
Do you know what? When we won the free kick and Harry sort of fell on top of the ball, I know from my days playing. Yeah, because he did exactly what I used to do. You get fouled, so you think, I want to take the free kick. Apart from the fact you're the centre forward and you feel like you should be able to score a free kick. He's the one that got fouled. You knew Eric Dyer was not having it off. I was trying to lip read, and I'm sure Harry Kane said something along the lines of, "No, I'm having this," or something like that. I don't know. It might have been discussing something completely different, but there was no way he was getting the ball off him, and it was like he looked surprised, which when it hit the wall, because it was a terrible free kick. Again, it was a terrible free kick. But going back to what Josh said about Perisic, that Perisic wasn't on the pitch, Son wasn't on the pitch. I'm not sure who else apart from Dyer could have took it. But let's be honest, Dyer does take a pretty good free kick, so he should have took it. But as Noel said, Harry Kane's the man, and they all know how good he is. So he just thinks he's going to have another go. But this set piece expert, I'm not quite. Surely he was bought in. I don't see anything different at the moment. It's just Harry Kane kicking the ball into a wall. I don't know what this guy's getting paid for, if that's what he is. But I'm sure there's more to it than that. I'm being a bit facetious, but he's a bit of an odd one. But Christ, let's get Harry off free kicks and somebody else have a go.
Josh, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11. Hugo Lloris in goal, the back three of Romero, Dyer and Sanchez, wing backs Doherty and Perisic, in midfield Højbjerg and Bissouma, and then the forward three of Harry Kane, Heung-min Son and DJ and Kulusevski. Do you read anything into this starting 11 for the Premier League next week? Do you think that this is going to be the starting 11 next week?
Well, I did think, obviously, it's a strong lineup. There's nothing wrong with the lineup. It's not a weak lineup. But next week in the Premier League, I really wouldn't be surprised if Conte just goes with exactly the same team from the end of last year. I've got a feeling he's going to go with a very, very similar team. Like he's going to put Højbjerg and Bentancur in midfield. He's going to play Son, Kane and Kulusevski. I think the only change that we might see is Perisic playing left wing back. Obviously, with this kind of Reguilon situation, and I'm not sure if Sessegnon is fully fit, because I think Reguilon's off. He may be being transferred, and I think he might play Perisic, especially with the performance today. I think he played well. He's got the experience. Another week of training in the bag. So I think the only change from the end of last year, and obviously think about today's lineup, I think Perisic will come in. I'm not sure if Bissouma will start, I think he'll go with Bentancur and Højbjerg just for that first game. And then a lot of people online, a lot of people are kind of theorising that they really want to see a Bentancur and a Bissouma midfield. I think that'll be more of a kind of balanced midfield. I'd like to see that as well. I think that'll be more dynamic. That'll be more kind of progressive than playing like a Højbjerg and a Bissouma, which I thought was a bit static at some moments. Or a bit kind of, it felt like Harry Winks was in midfield again. Lots of sideways passing. And I think we're really dying for a bit of progressive play, moving it forward more. So yeah, I think as the season progresses, we'll obviously see a lot more changes. Maybe Spence coming in, but I think Conte will go safe for that first game. Go in the players that he actually trusts, that he knows are Premier League like proven and that can do it under him. So I think Perisic will come in, but all the same from last year.
I agree with what you said earlier, Josh, about Perisic. I thought he had a great game today. Very unlucky with a couple of shots that he had. Put a couple of decent crosses in. I think that, I thought that if we were going to be dangerous in the game, it was going to come from him. Now, let's come to you on that point. What did you think of Perisic today?
I thought he's technically very good, Chris. Obviously got a very good football brain. Maybe lacks a wee bit of pace. Obviously he's 33. He's not 23, but very good player. I wrote down the team that I thought would start next week. And I think that Josh has said it there. I think Perisic will start, but I think Lenglet possibly could start. And that would be the two changes that I would see from next week. Sanchez is a good player, and I know that Conte trusts him. But it's still a right footer. I love a left footer. I love a right foot, left foot combination at the back. And he was running up the field, putting in fantastic crosses, something that Spurs haven't had for years. So I think he might have made a case for himself there. But other than that, without Richarlison, everything the same. Centre midfield, I would have liked to see Bissouma and Bissouma and Bentancur. But I don't think Bissouma's fit yet. So I think it'll be the same as last year, Bentancur and Højbjerg. Like Conte seems to like Højbjerg. He's a strong, hard-working player. He's the destroyer in the team. All managers seem to like him, but if I was making a change, that's where I would make it.
No, who do you think that who are Tottenham's best two fullbacks? Because of course Matt Doherty and Perisic played today. Surely, I know there's going to be lots of rotation. There will be lots of rotation throughout all of the games that Spurs play next season. But surely Antonio Conte will have his favourites. Who do you think his favourites are in the left wing back and the right wing back position?
Well, I think in the right wing back, I think he actually fancies Matt Doherty, my fellow countryman. But Doherty has improved. He has limitations. But I think Spence will eventually take that place. I don't think he's he's ready at this stage, but somewhere throughout the season he's going to get his chance, and I think he could take it. At the back, I think the guy said Perisic looks a really good player, technically very, very sound, has got a good shot on him, and I think he'll start the season. So for me, Doherty and Perisic.
Craig, what do you think of the referee's performance today? There's a number of comments coming in about the referee, and to be honest, I didn't think that he had a great game.
No, he didn't. He didn't have a very good game at all. I mean, he missed a Stonewall penalty, I think, for us, to be honest. He just made some very odd decisions throughout the game. I don't think we can fully blame the referee for today, but he didn't have the best game, let's face it, and it didn't help matters. But it is what it is. That's football, isn't it? And the referee wasn't at fault for the fact we had no shots on target. Let's get it straight. Yeah. Kane did have the ball in the net, but it was offside. So you can't blame the referee for everything. If we'd won the game, do you even bring the referee into it? Most of the time, you probably don't. So, yeah, you're correct in saying he had a bit of a stinker. But let's take our play and how we played the game away from that. He didn't affect the game that much that it meant that we. That Roma limited us to I don't know how many even chances we created, or like big chances. I don't think there was many, was there? So, just a part of a learning curve today.
Well, even after 50 seconds, I felt that we got a lucky let-off. Roma had a couple of chances, which we cleared in the end. I know you want to stay positive, Josh, but, Roma in the first 10 minutes or so, they had a couple of chances. Even in the 8th minute, they put a cross in. Lloris come running out and one of our defenders headed it away. There seemed to be a bit of lack of communication. Are you worried at this stage when you're going into a new season, the fact that we started this game so poorly?
Yeah, it was a bit concerning. We didn't look very confident at the back, and that is obviously always going to be concerning. But I think, look, it's as we've said again, it's sometimes what happens when you go abroad and it's different conditions. And I don't want to sound like Ty, from Arsenal Fan TV. You've got to remember it's hot, it's been raining or whatever. Oh, it's all the referee's fault. Look, everyone's human at the end of the day. Sometimes you don't have a great performance. And we didn't start well at the back, as you said. And I thought there was quite a lot of miscommunication in that first half. It was not a great defensive performance. And even in the second half, there was a moment that really stressed me out when Fraser Forster came on and they put a chance through and Fraser Forster didn't come out and Romero had to make a last-ditch challenge. And I thought, like everyone said, Romero has had a great game. We all know that he's a very dominant centre-back and he does save us quite a lot. I don't know what we do without Romero. He's world-class. He's brilliant defender, very talented boy. And I hope he stays at our club for a very long time. But yeah, it's very disjointed. Especially in the first half. And when Lenglet came on, I thought we were a bit more kind of connected at the back. Felt there was a bit more communication, a bit more fluid at the back. And I'm sure Conte will look at that. And in the season, he probably won't want to be playing Davinson Sanchez out of position again. I think Davinson's a good player, but maybe not a left centre back. I'm not too concerned. It's just one of those games. And as Craig said about the charity community shield game, I mean, Man City's defence looked absolutely shambolic. Look at them, they're title winners. Sometimes that just happens in pre-season. There might be a bit of a lack of communication. In a whole Premier League season, it's going to be totally different. These players are going to be playing games, multiple games a week. They'll get fitter and fitter and fitter. The communication will come back. Remember, some of these lads have been on holiday. They've obviously had a few weeks of pre-season, but they're not going to be 100% right now. They're not going to be all engines on 100%. But hopefully by next week, I think they'll be a little bit rusty. They won't be like the end of last season where we were completely dominant and you just knew what you're going to get every single game and everything was like, wow, we're playing insane. I think we'll be a little bit rusty next week, but I think we can expect positive things. I don't think we've got too much to worry about, but I think we could do with one more centre-back coming in. Obviously, we've got 3 games a week. It's going to be Cups, Champions League, Premier League. I think if we get 1 or 2 injuries, even with Davies out, we just look a little bit short, just a little bit short. And I'm glad we've got Lenglet, but maybe one more, maybe a Pau Torres or a Gavardiol. I'll be happy with any talented centre-back coming in and just helping us out. But what do you think, Chris?
About what?
What do you think about our defence? Do you think are we sorted? Are you worried? Are you happy with what's going on at the back?
I am actually. I think, as you've rightly said, Romero is a real rock at the back. I think if we had another Romero, we would be absolutely solid at the back. I think that Eric Dyer was probably the most improved player since Antonio Conte's arrived, along with Ben Davies. I think Ben Davies has been great. So Dyer, Davies and Romero, I think those 3 should certainly be our back 3. It worries me still about the fullback situation. Although we've brought Perisic in, I'm very, very surprised with this system that Antonio Conte plays. We know how the fullbacks are so important. I'm very surprised we have not brought in an experienced right wing back. Of course, we've brought Jed Spence in. It isn't Antonio Conte's signing. I understand why the club have done it. I completely agree with why the club have done it. It's good business for us. But I think that Antonio Conte still wants an experienced right wing back who he knows can do a fantastic job. And as I said, I'm very surprised with the system that he plays that we haven't targeted that straight away. I really am. But as far as the back three go, I think we're pretty solid. And the performances from Ben Davies and Eric Dyer last season, I thought were absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm confident at the back. I do get everyone's point about a creative midfielder. I just don't see where he's going to fit in, because Conte will need to change the system again, and I can't see that. I can't see that happening. But I would like to see another couple of additions come into this squad in the remaining days of the transfer window. Noel, let's come to you. In the 29th minute, of course, we conceded the only goal of the game. What did you make of the goal?
Oh, terrible. I mean, schoolboy defending. I mean, that is shocking. Attack the ball. I mean, when players, it really pees me off when players jump sideways to meet a ball. You're a centre half. You're supposed to come out and clear man ball and all. It was too timid in my view, and we've been guilty of that for so long, conceding cheap goals, and it really was the lowest point of the game. Obviously, it was the losing of the game. So I was really annoyed with this. I was a coach of schoolboy football, and attack the ball. Don't be jumping with the man. Jump and get the ball. I mean, it's basic defending, Chris. You know that. Anybody that's involved in football knows that. We're very, very unhappy with that one.
Craig, how did you feel seeing Jose Mourinho in the dugout? I know obviously he wasn't managing Spurs, but him against Antonio Conte is always a feisty encounter, which it was tonight with Tottenham and Roma. I noticed from sitting in the stand just close to them that Jose Mourinho hugged Ivan Perisic in the first half, and he hugged Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as well. Didn't see any other hugs going on amongst the Tottenham Hotspur players and Jose, but how did you feel seeing him again?
Yeah, I did see a picture on Twitter of him kissing Lucas Moura's head. I don't know whether that was today. I got the impression it was today. How did I feel about seeing him? It was weird, to be honest with you, because obviously it was. Do
you know what? Inside the stadium, when they were reading out all of the names and they read the managers' names out as well, the Spurs fans within that stadium this evening booed when Jose Mourinho's name came out.
Really? Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. That's a bit harsh.
I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I was never his biggest fan. I'll be honest, I never really wanted him at the club at the start when he joined. But you can't do nothing but have respect for Mourinho, and he did help us. We did improve under him to a point, and he was box office to watch. I remember when we hired Nuno, which seems like it just didn't happen. It's one of those bad dream things. But I went from watching all the press conferences with Mourinho to not watching Mummy Nuno because he just bored me to tears. There was just nothing that interested me at all. And I thought, well, perhaps Mourinho wasn't as bad as I thought. He was definitely Marmite, but I was never really massively for him, but I wasn't really massively against him either. So it was odd to see him. But if it had been Poch, I never had a connection with Mourinho like I, as a fan, had with Poch. I think all of us would have had with Poch. If that had been Poch managing them tonight, I think that would have been a bit weird. It always seems a bit weird. Same as it's going to be weird seeing Christian Eriksen in a Man U shirt next season. That's just going to be wrong. It shouldn't have happened, but don't get me on that. But yeah, it was slightly odd seeing Mourinho, but he looked well, so don't wish any ill on him.
Josh, let's come to you. Let's also talk about the goal that we conceded. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's sloppy, isn't it? We've definitely got a bit of an issue with set pieces. We brought someone in, I think, to kind of a set piece specialist. Obviously, I think we need to work on that a bit. We struggled with that under Mourinho. Funny enough, I remember at the beginning of the Mourinho season, and we were conceding free kicks, headers off free kicks. One pops to mind: Everton at home. It was big. One of the first games at home in the lockdown season, we conceded a very similar goal. I think a couple of those players need to be reminded, need to be coached a bit more on those set pieces, a bit more physicality in the box. But look, that's something they can learn. That's something they can improve on There's nothing wrong that they can't not improve on. It's not too bad. It's not like we conceded 3 headers in a game. It's one mistake. It's pre-season. It's not. We haven't lost 3 points and we're going to lose out on Champions League. It's just a pre-season game. So I think it's actually a good thing. As I said earlier, it's actually quite a good thing that's happened now, because they can work on that in the next week, and they should try and not concede one against Southampton. I'll be annoyed if we play Southampton and then Carl Walker-Peters scores a header against us. That'd be really annoying. So yeah, I hope they don't do it next week. I hope they've learned a lesson. I think it's always really important in life to kind of, when you make a mistake, it's not about the negative. It's about what can you learn from that mistake and how can you turn that into a positive? How can you actually learn from that and improve as a team? I think it's a good thing that actually happened today, because that will kind of switch on a light bulb and go, right, we've got to work on this. We've got to improve. We've got to keep going. We're not, as I said earlier, we're not going to challenge for a title if we're going to defend like that. How are we going to do that? We've got to improve on our defence, and then we can make the next step, etc.
Josh, do you think Antonio Conte is happy with the 4 matches and what we've done in pre-season?
I wouldn't say he'd be annoyed, but I wouldn't be overly ecstatic. I don't think he's like bounding with happiness. But I tell you what's more important, as I've said, I think we need to judge what he thinks after 4 Premier League games or 5, 10 Premier League games. That's what's the most important. If we go 4 Premier League games and we've won 2, drawn 1, lost 1, it's not great. It's not great. We want to be going fast out there, getting as many wins as possible. So yeah, I think what's more important is getting wins under the bag in the bag in the Premier League in the next couple of weeks. Let's get a result. Southampton. We've obviously got Chelsea earlier on. That's in the season. I think that's in the 2nd or 3rd week. That's really important game. We've got to try and get a result there. But yeah, I think what's really important is getting these Premier League results. I wouldn't read too much into pre-season. I really wouldn't. I just think it's more important to focus on the Premier League.
No, same question to you. Do you think Antonio Conte is happy with the pre-season going into the Southampton game next week?
I think he would, as Josh, I don't think he'd be too unhappy, but I think he would have questions to answer. I think he's a perfectionist, and he always will not be happy. I think a couple of weeks ago when somebody said, when we win the Premier League, didn't he laugh? And he said no chance. But I know that's only mind games. I know that would be at the top of his priority. I think he would have 1 or 2 little concerns, but all managers are the same. I think he would be 75-80% happy.
Well, I'm going to ask you that question now. Now I want to see your reaction. Can Tottenham win the Premier League?
Chris, I've always been a glass half full person. And this year, I'm actually going to put a few euros on it, because I think this one crucial thing that nobody has talked about yet. This is World Cup year. And many players are actually Tottenham away at the World Cup. Do you know? Does anybody know?
Sorry, no, what was that?
How many players have Tottenham away at the World Cup this year? Well, how many Tottenham players will be at the World Cup this year?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of them. Yeah. We'll let Craig compile the list.
I think this is going to be one of the crucial things of this season. Is teams are going to be starting again. Is it in January? It's a mid-season break for the World Cup, and they're going to be starting. The players, are they not going to be coming back absolutely exhausted after playing? And the further the teams go, obviously Liverpool, Man City are going to have lots and lots of players away. Tottenham will have lots of players away. But, I think we blew 2 great chances to win the Premier League. Obviously, 2016, when we finished 3rd in a 2-horse race. And then in 2017, 18, was that the year we only lost, we never lost a game at White Hart Lane? 2017. 17. Yeah, I think we blew 2 really good chances at that particular time. So this year, I think if we get the 2 players that you're talking about, we have a chance. And I'm not a betting man, but I might just put a few euros on it. But I think the World Cup is going to be really, really crucial. It's going to disrupt the whole season. and obviously the more successful teams will be the most affected. So maybe Liverpool, Man City might have a blip at that particular time. So yeah, it is a possibility.
Yeah, it's actually on the 12th of November. We break up for the World Cup, and then we come back on Boxing Day. So yeah, it will be a weird season. It really will. November and December. Craig, do you think Antonio Conte is happy with how everything's gone, the transfer window, and we're now only a week away until we start our Premier League season? Are you happy as a fan?
I'll just cover off Conte. I think Noel's right, to be honest with you. Conte would have wanted 4 wins. In the back of his mind, he might not come out and say it, but he'd have probably wanted 4 wins, and he would have probably wanted the defending to be a bit better today from that corner, because that was schoolboy. I don't know who had what's the guy's name that scored? I did write it down. I can't remember his name. Ibanez. I don't know who was supposed to be marking him. I know Son was standing on the edge of the box, and I don't know if it was Sonny that didn't go with him. I don't know, but either way, it was poor defending. So Conte wouldn't have liked that at all. As regards the transfer window, he's probably 7 out of 10 because he probably wants a couple more. Me as a fan, I'd put the pre-season probably about a 7. I think it's got minutes in the legs of most of the players. I was quite surprised we didn't see Spence today, must admit. I'd have liked to have seen him. Because I don't know why he keeps bringing Emerson on if we're looking to sell him. I don't know if that's the media or Twitter sort of hyping that up that Emerson's going to be going, but one of them's got to go. Surely you can't start with 3 right wing backs. And you'd think Reguilon's going to be off as well, but he seems to be perhaps a bit more advanced and there's more concrete offers in for him. So, yeah, I would personally say transfer window 7 out of 10 for me at the moment as well. I would still like to see a couple of players in the door over the next 3 or 4 weeks that we got left of the transfer window. So yeah, still a bit of work to do there, Chris. If you ask me my opinion on that one.
Now, Paddy writes on screen now. Question for the panel: would you start Lenglet next week if Davies was fit? Personally, I'd go with Davies. Let's go around to each of you. Josh, let's start with you. Davies or Lenglet?
I'd probably go Davies as well. And if you're Antonio Conte, I think first game of the season, he'd go Davies as well. But maybe that might change throughout the season.
Yeah. No?
I think he'd go with Davies, yeah.
Craig?
Oh, I think he'll go with Davies if Davies is fit, because I think he'll just want, like we spoke about earlier, what he knows. I don't think he'd want any slip-ups on the first game of the season. Although, going back to Lenglet, I didn't really know much about the fella, but seeing him do that great run and then cross it, and I couldn't believe Romero was on the other end of the header. I've never seen that before. I couldn't quite believe it. I had to really watch. What is that, Romero up there putting a header in? I couldn't believe it, one centre back to the other one. So yeah, as good as he was when he came on today, I think he'd go with Davies.
Yeah, we did have a couple of chances today. Josh, let's come to you. 33rd minute, Perisic, long-range shot over the bar. 3 minutes later, another great shot from him, just wide. In the 38th minute, Harry Kane to Dejan Kulusevski. Kulusevski back to Harry Kane. Scored, and then it was disallowed. That was unlucky, wasn't it? But the flag did go up early.
Yeah, we were quite unlucky, and obviously we had another penalty shout where Kane would have obviously put away a penalty in the second half. We did create today, but just not too much, and obviously we didn't get a shot on target. And I think that's just one of the kind of side effects of playing a very solid Jose side with quite a aggressive, strong, pressing Italian defending side. And I think, again, that's a good challenge, because God knows who we're gonna come up against in the Champions League. We could get a group of death, and that's a good challenge to have in pre-season, to kind of get used to these hard defending European teams. Something a bit different to a Premier League, where it's going to be a bit more attacking football. But yeah, I haven't got any worries. Honestly, we've got some great attacking talent at the club, and they'll score lots of goals this season. Hopefully, we can get another golden boot, Son or Kane, or even Kulusevski with the way he's going. But yeah, I'm not worried at all. I think we will score plenty of goals this season.
Josh, let's stay with you because I want to talk a little bit about Ivan Perisic because he was involved in so much today. In the 45th minute, cross come in. It was too close to the goalkeeper though, and no one there to attack the cross. And then in the 53rd minute, another cross from him. Christian Romero headed just wide. And then in the 54th minute, Perisic over the bar. He was involved in a lot. Do you expect him to be getting forward a lot this season? Do you think that he will be the number one starting left wing back above Ryan Sessegnon?
I do. I think with the experience that he's got, that's why Conte's brought him in. I think he's so direct. He's just a bit more kind of. I felt like he had more ambition going forward than Ryan Sessegnon. Like there was a point where he actually took on a man and actually made a really powerful driving run on the left-hand side, maybe at the beginning of the second half, and he really got away from him. And I thought, that's exactly what we need. And obviously, you say about all these crosses, and he had quite a few near kind of shots as well, which were dangerous. And I thought, this is exactly what we need, because we all know what Reguilon's finishing is like, and it wasn't exactly 10 out of 10 world class, was it? And we know that Perisic is a great player. Honestly, the experience that he brings, the quality he can bring to this side, I think will really improve us. And obviously, as you said earlier, we really need these wing backs, especially with the system that Conte plays. And I think Perisic moving forward, kind of whipping the ball in, quality balls in the box, not balls that are just going to hit the first man and just like putting in balls for the sake of putting in balls. He's going to put in great crosses, and he showed that today. I think he's going to be a real dangerous player, and it's a steal that we've signed him. But yeah, as you said earlier, I think we really need someone on the right-hand side. I'm really happy with Jed Spence. I think he's going to be brilliant. He was really good for Nottingham Forest, really impressed me. But I think we need another kind of experienced, gritty right wing-back who's going to offer the same as Perisic for us. And obviously, we've got the two young boys coming through. We've got the two young boys. We've got Sessegnon, we've got Spence. They're going to come through. They're going to be our Danny Rose and Kyle Walker in 2-3 years' time. But we need two experienced players to kind of play above them now. And I'm not sure if Doherty is that kind of player on the right. He's obviously got a great relationship with Harry Kane and Eric Dyer, which I don't think they'll want to break up now. I think we do, like you said, we need one more person in that right wing back position, and then we'll be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, also on Perisic in the 63rd minute, great defensive play from him. He blocked Roma going through. Now, let's come to you. In the 66th minute, Antonio Conte made 4 subs. Hugo Lloris, Matt Doherty, Heung-min Son, DJ Kulusevski all come off. Fraser Forster come on in goal, obviously. And then the 3 Brazilians, Richarlison, Lucas Moura and Emerson Royale come on. What do you make of the 3 Brazilians? What do you make of their performances playing the last 24 minutes or so?
That's Richarlison, Moura, and who's Royal?
Emerson Royale, yeah.
I thought Richarlison did well. He had one fantastic run, and got into the penalty area, showed a lot of pace, which was sadly, I think we were badly lacking pace today. The other 2 really didn't get into it. The only person I would give a rating to there was Richarlison. I don't know, where he's going to fit in this season. Is he going to be happy, to be a part player? Because at the moment, that's what he's going to be. I know he can rotate and he can play anywhere across the line. I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good signing, and I like that. I like that there's a bit of development in him as well. Which is no bad thing. And I was so impressed with him today. But the other 2. I couldn't really give a rating. I would obviously keep Lucas Moura. I think he's a very loyal player, and he could change the situation. He could change the game very, very quickly. I think he's always going to be an impact player, and will only get in possibly when there's an injury, or come on as a sub. I agree with Josh. I think it was Josh said it. Foster, my goodness, I'm not so sure about him. He didn't come off his line, and it took Romero to save him. I thought that was going to be a goal, and quality defending, but poor goalkeeping. So that would be a concern, the goalkeeping position. I know he's a good shot stopper, But I heard somebody saying, on social media, he's a great shot stopper, but with the modern goalkeeper, that plays with the ball at the feet, he's not that good. And I think it proved today, but maybe that's been a bit hard on him. But I want to ask you a question, Chris. A lot has been written about and said about this Zaniolo for Roma, who
Zaniolo.
Yeah, you were there today. What did you think?
Well, I was going to ask, what did you three make of him today? Because I don't think he's that great.
Didn't see anything there, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I didn't even know he was on the pitch for a long time, and then I saw his number coming up, and I thought, why are we been linked with this guy, 40 or 50 or maybe more, 50 million, and why are Roma, prepared to sell him if he's that good? Maybe been a bit hard on him, but I didn't think much of him, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, well, let's come to Craig and Josh on that point as well. Nicolo Zaniolo, what do you think?
To be honest, I wasn't really paying much attention to him, to be honest. I was watching more of Tottenham, if I'm brutally honest. But, I mean, he had some nice touches. But for me, if you're going to go for somebody like that, you want Premier League proven. And there's somebody I'm still kind of on the fence about, but I would have over Zaniolo would be Maddison. But yeah, to be honest, I can't really pass judgment on him because I didn't really watch him today. But perhaps that speaks volumes in itself. If somebody had really been running the game, you would have noticed, wouldn't you? And I didn't notice him, so perhaps that's your answer right there. To be honest.
What about you, Josh? And even Paulo Dybala, I would have expected more from him today.
Yeah, I thought Dybala was a bit better than Zaniolo. I was really not that impressed with Zaniolo. I thought Dybala had a good touch. He had something about him, a little spark about him. Obviously, we were linked with him a couple of years ago. It's a shame we didn't get him or Eriksen in. As Craig said, we're obviously linked with James Maddison, and Newcastle put in a £40 million bid, which was rejected today. They want 60 million, I think, Leicester. I'm not sure if we'll pay 60 million for him. I don't think he is worth 60 million pounds. In my opinion, but that's obviously the club's money and the club's decision. And if they want to splash the cash on a creative midfielder, they've got to do so with someone who's Premier League proven. But yeah, Zaniolo, for the money that Roma want for him, I don't think he impressed much. I think that someone's got to be very special for kind of that amount of money. 50, 60 million. They've got to be like look at Christian Romero. We splashed the cash on him. 40, 50 million pounds on him, and look how special he is for us. We need someone like that, but in attacking midfield, and Zaniolo really didn't have that kind of shine on him today, which I think is probably a good thing, because they'll probably be kind of turned off a bit. Maybe Perisic will be a bit turned off seeing that today.
No, let's come to you. Let's talk about next season. Of course, the Premier League season starts for Spurs next Saturday against Southampton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Are you confident about this game? And are you going into the season as a Spurs fan feeling confident about us being successful?
I was thinking about it today, Chris. This time last year, we won 3 games in a row. We were sitting top of the league after 3 games, and we were absolutely playing terrible. Yeah, I am confident. I think 2-0, possibly 3-0 against Southampton. I'd be very disappointed if it wasn't anything any less than that. I mean, it's a completely different scenario. Look, Harry Kane looks happy. He's smiling. This time last year, he was obviously, his head was down. He wanted to go to Manchester City. There seems to be a feel-good factor about the place. They have a very, very good manager. Everything is not perfect, obviously. There's no such thing possibly as a perfect world. But yes, I am confident up for the season and for next week.
How about you, Craig?
Yeah, I think you've got to be more in a better place than last year, to be honest with you, as Noel says, because it was right, wasn't it? We were top. We'd won 3 games, but it was just appalling football, and it was a kind of weird feeling because you kind of knew in the back of your head that things were going to come crashing down, even though Nuno winning manager of the month, and none of the fans seemed that happy. 3-1-0 wins. It was really weird sort of situation, wasn't it? Really weird. We all knew what was going to happen. But yeah, look, it's not the best way to sign off pre-season with a loss, but and everybody obviously been happier with a win on the up, like going into next week. But as I say, I'm sure Conte will have them thinking, look, just use it as a training exercise, and it's Saturday when the real work starts. So I'm pretty confident we're going to have a fairly good August. I'm not sure Kane looked that happy today after that free kick. No, I'm not sure. Not sure he had a smile on his face after that. But he certainly seems in a better place. And as I say, with a couple of new additions and the transfer window still open, I think we've got a really good chance. I'm not going to say win the Premier League. I'm not that deluded, but I think third spot's definitely up for grabs.
What about you, Josh?
I think it'll be a tough game. I think Southampton at home, I think they're always, obviously it's at Spurs Stadium, but I think they always pose a bit of a challenge to us. Obviously, they always kind of turn up, I feel. I can remember a couple of results against them that we've had where, like, I remember a specific one where Hugo Lloris scored an own goal or something. It was a shocker with Danny Ings against Southampton. So I think it won't be. I don't think it'll be a walk in the park. I don't think it'll be easy. I think we'll win 2-1. That's my prediction. I think they'll probably score first, and then we'll get the win in the second half. Very similar to last season. I think we'll turn up and we'll get a good win, and it'll be a great introduction to hopefully an exciting season compared to last year, which obviously the beginning of last year wasn't great, was it? Even though we won those 3 games, it all kind of that was shocking what happened, and hopefully with a whole season with Conte as a manager, we can see some great things happen. We did very well with Conte for half the season last year. Let's see what he can do for a whole season.
We'll use that word exciting, Josh. I've used that for the last couple of months, certainly with this transfer window. Lastly, I just want to ask all 3 of you what your expectations are for next season. Now, let's start with you, because are you expecting Spurs to challenge for the Premier League? Are you expecting Spurs to finish in those top 4 spaces again? Are you expecting any trophies next year?
I'm definitely expecting a trophy, Chris, and you'll be very happy with that. I think we will win a trophy this season. I'm not sure which one. I think we'll finish, realistically, I'd love to say we'll finish top, but I think we will finish third at least. If you take, Man City and Liverpool are still up there. They're still the benchmark. I don't think Chelsea are anywhere. They've had a lot of disruption with the political situation, with the ownership, and they're struggling to get players out and struggling to get players in. I don't think they'll make top 4. So maybe the crowd over the road. I think Spurs number 3. And that would be a good result for us, but it's still not within the bounds of possibility that with a couple of extra signings, Conte is a winner. He's done it before. He knows how to do it. Keep the players fit. Get them back again from the World Cup. It just might be, and might be worth putting a few pounds or euros on it. So somewhere between first and third, and that's my final answer.
Love it. Love the confidence. Craig, What about you?
For me, top 3 definitely. You've got to be looking at that, and the domestic cup. I don't think we can sit here and say we're going to win the Champions League, but certainly get out the group stage. I think that's a must, no matter who we're drawn against, and then see where we go. Because they're not one-off games, but double-headed games. I think we can beat anybody on our day, and just got to hope that the stars align. But certainly, a domestic cup, we've got chances to win that. We've got chances there, and if we can get one more signing, I said a few weeks ago, I think there's a sprinkling of stardust to come in. Some player that's going to make everybody go wow, and I think that along with another centre back, I think it's just one thing that's missing, that creator that can also score goals, and please get somebody that can take a free kick. But yeah, that's my prediction. Top 3 domestic cup and a decent run in the Champions League.
Well, what my expectations are of Tottenham finishing in the top 4, and definitely a trophy of some kind. Not that I talk about trophies very much, but we desperately need one. Josh, what are you expecting?
Probably the same. Yeah, as long as we get top 4, I think that's really important for the sustainability of the club, for the financial side of the club, for everything. Continuing in the Champions League is very important. Obviously, we've seen how it has affected our club not being in the Champions League, and how we must try and get back in it. And we're in it again, and it's great to be back. And I'm looking forward to the draw, which I think is at the end of August. It'll be really interesting. Hopefully, do a bit of travelling, and the boys will obviously enjoy that. The top players in Europe and the world want to come to a club that plays in the Champions League, and Tottenham can offer that. So I think that's really important that we keep in the Champions League. So anything top 4, even if we finish 4th like we did obviously this season or last season, I'll be really happy with that. And I'd obviously love for us to win a trophy. It's obviously unrealistic. We're not going to win the Champions League. Well, fingers crossed, touch wood, we might. But yeah, I'd love to win an FA Cup. I just love to see Tottenham win any trophy, as you said, Chris. Any trophy. We've talked about it for so long, especially on your channel. It'll just be amazing. The day that we actually see those lads win a trophy, I don't think you'll be able to wipe a smile off our faces for a very, very, very long time. And hopefully Antonio Conte can bring that this season. That'll be brilliant. Or even I'll be so happy if England won the World Cup. I'll be really happy if that happens.
I just want to see that bus going down that high road past the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, parading a trophy. It would just be an incredible moment. It really will. Lastly, let's do score predictions for the Southampton game. I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to go with 2-0 Spurs, Heung-min Son and Harry Kane to get the goals. Craig, what about you?
I was going to go 2-0 as well before you said that, but because mine and your scores are always very similar, I'm going to say 3-0. I'm going to say Sonny gets 2, and I'm going to say Kulusevski gets the other one.
Josh?
I think it's going to be 2-1. As I said, I think James Ward-Prowse will score, probably a set piece, and then probably Kane and Son. Classic Spurs, Kane and Son, probably both will get an assist for each other, and both will score, and we'll get 3 points.
Well, 3 points is 3 points. Now, what about you? What score prediction you going with?
Unlike Josh, I never bet anybody to score against Spurs, Chris, so I'm going 3-0, Kane 2 and Son 1.
Love the confidence. No, it's been great having you back with us. It's been far too long. I hope you come back again soon.
Can I say something to you, Chris? The night that I met you on the 12th of May at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was a fantastic night. We beat Arsenal 3-0. And I met 3 Spurs legends that day. Do you want to know who they were?
Yeah, go
on. Chris Cowlin, David Brown, the great Dave Brown, Spurs fan Dave, and my boyhood hero, Pat Jennings.
Fantastic.
That was a great night,
Chris. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Now, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Chris.
Craig,
thank you.
Thanks so much as always.
No problem at all. What are you, 2 hours ahead out there, are you?
Yeah, we are, yeah. It's hot. It's currently 1:30 a.m.
Oh.
What's the temperature?
Well, the temperature today was 38.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
And we were coming at the game that had no pace.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the players were. I don't know if you could see it where you were sitting, Chris. The players were just saturated in sweat, drenched. Yeah. So they did look drained without a doubt. So it was never going to be a pretty match tonight. But thanks for having me on, Chris. Always enjoyable, even when we lose. Well, most of the time when we lose, anyway. So let's hope for a win next Saturday.
And Josh, thanks so much for joining me again. What are you up to at the moment? Anything interesting?
Oh, well, I'm still on holiday from uni, just at home, plodding along, been looking after my parents because they went on holiday and caught COVID, so I've been looking after them.
Oh. Well, best wishes to them. And hopefully we will be back next week talking about a Tottenham Hotspur win. The Premier League will be back, and hopefully we are all smiling throughout the whole of the season and we lift a trophy at the end of it. Wouldn't that be lovely? Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. If you don't subscribe to the channel as yet, please do hit that subscribe button. And thanks so much to Craig, Noel and Josh for joining me on another good show. even though we lost this evening. But pre-season is over. Premier League is back next week. I cannot wait. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.